Did you know that the aging of your body doesn't begin with time, but with the stories you've been told since you were born? From your very first day of life, your mind was programmed to drain your vital energy and speed up your fatigue. But what almost no one knows is that there's a hidden code that can break this programming and reverse this wear and tear. This code was revealed by Thoth, the Hermetic master of ancient Egypt, and it's not a myth. He left behind real symbols and teachings that reactivate the energy that keeps your body young and your mind awake. And now, you're going to start feeling that happening inside you. But hold on, because what I'm about to show you in the next few minutes goes way beyond a mental trick. You're going to understand what's been draining your energy every day, and how to activate a real rejuvenation process, one that begins in your mind and even changes your physical body. But at the end of this video, there's a detail almost no one knows, a hidden point that Thoth left concealed, and that is the key to keeping your body in a constant state of regeneration. So stay with me until then, because I'm going to show you step by step how to use this in your real life. The Son of Man is not in the sky, but in his heart. When it shines, the whole body lights up and life is renewed. Now that you've started to notice the invisible prison surrounding you, you need to understand how it was built. And here's an uncomfortable truth. The system that keeps you trapped isn't made of physical chains or concrete walls. It's made of ideas, of stories that have been repeated so many times they started to sound like absolute truths. And the more you believe in those stories, the further you drift from your true nature. The Matrix isn't a science fiction movie. It's in your daily life. It's in the way news is presented to you, in the algorithms that decide what you see, in the behavior patterns you repeat without question. While you believe you're making free choices, someone has already decided what options you're allowed to choose from. Notice how your attention is controlled. You wake up and your first instinct is to grab your phone. You don't even realize it, but you're already reacting to external stimuli. Notifications, messages, endless timelines. Every click you make feeds a network that knows exactly what keeps you distracted. Meanwhile, your vital energy starts the day being drained. Not by physical effort, but by mental overload. The news pours out fear. Social media pours out comparisons. Productivity culture demands that you stay busy all the time. And the more your mind chases after these outside demands, the less energy it has to look inward. It's a race with no finish line, but everyone's been taught to keep running non-stop. And the more you run, the more tired you get. It's not your body that's tired, it's your soul. A kind of exhaustion that slowly dims your inner clarity, and because of that, your body starts to feel the effects. Loss of energy, trouble resting, constant feelings of exhaustion. What seems physical is actually a reflection of the disconnection between your mind and spirit. And here's the cruelest part of this prison. It disguises itself as freedom. They tell you you can choose your path, but the options are already predefined. They say you can be anything you want, but only show you paths that feed the system. Education, career, consumption, entertainment. All carefully designed to keep your time and your mind occupied, while your true essence remains forgotten. The Matrix wants you to stay on autopilot, because as long as you're distracted, you won't realize there's something beyond. As long as you're chasing the next momentary pleasure, the next external validation, the next temporary relief, there's no room left for silence. And in silence, the truth lives. And the last thing this system wants is for you to find the truth. Notice how modern entertainment works. It gives you small doses of instant pleasure. Short videos, repetitive music, quick jokes, empty content. All designed to keep you entertained, but without depth. Because when your mind is entertained, it doesn't question. It doesn't seek meaning. It just consumes and repeats. Now think about the impact this has on your body. Every time you consume content that causes anxiety, fear, or comparison, your energy system reacts. Your breathing changes, your posture shifts, your energy field weakens. Over time, this creates real physical wear. Your body feels the emotional overload and responds with fatigue, tension, and early aging. You were trained to seek distraction whenever the emptiness shows up. Instead of looking inward and listening to what that emptiness is trying to say, you fill it with more external stimuli. Social media, shows, shopping, shallow conversations. And every time you do that, you move a little further away from who you really are. The most dangerous part of this process is that it starts to feel normal. The people around you live the same way. Everyone running, everyone tired, everyone empty. And since no one stops to question it, it feels like that's the only way to live. But it's not. This collective alienation keeps society running exactly as it is. Tired people don't question. Distracted people don't create. Burned out people don't awaken. And while that's happening, a few benefit from your unconscious effort. But Thoth didn't just see this system in action. He left a code for those who have the courage to break free from this invisible prison. And the first sign is just ahead. The ancient masters tried to warn you. This first sign may have been pulsing inside you for a long time. You just didn't recognize it because the system made sure to mask it. This sign doesn't show up as an obvious answer, nor as an absolute certainty. It presents itself in a much more subtle way, like an emptiness you feel when you're alone, like that silent restlessness that shows up even when everything seems fine on the outside. This emptiness that insists on following you during moments of silence, when the noise of the world fades and you have nowhere left to hide. And here's the truth no one told you. This emptiness is not a flaw. It's not a problem that needs to be eliminated. It's not a curse. It's a calling. For centuries, the ancients knew that this emptiness was the gateway to a new reality. While the modern world tries to numb this feeling with distractions, shopping, and fleeting pleasures, the masters of the past taught that this discomfort is the seed of awakening. It's when everything you believed in starts to crumble that the truth has space to be born. But the system reversed the meaning of this. It made you believe that this emptiness is a sign of failure, when, in fact, it's the sign that something inside you has begun to move, something that was asleep, and now, finally, wants to wake up. It's like an internal alarm that rings when you're far from your true path. You know that moment when nothing seems to make sense. When even surrounded by people you feel alone. When even after reaching certain goals the taste of victory fades too quickly. That's the moment the calling happens. It comes when everything the system said would bring happiness fails to fill your heart. But instead of listening to this calling, most people try to silence it. They run even faster in the rat race. They work more, buy more, distract themselves more. But the more they run, the further they get from themselves. The emptiness doesn't shrink, it grows. The ancient Egyptians, the Hindus, the Greek philosophers, and the Eastern masters all spoke about this turning point. They knew that when the emptiness appears, it means the soul has started to remember what truly matters. They didn't treat this as a disease, but as the beginning of healing. The healing of ignorance, of alienation, of illusion. And that healing begins when you stop running from yourself. When you decide, for the first time, to sit in silence and listen to what's inside. Not to judge, not to reject, but simply to listen. Because in the middle of that emptiness lives a voice that almost no one hears, your true voice. This process might feel lonely at first, because everything around you will try to pull you back into the old world. Distractions will seem even more tempting. Fear will try to convince you to give up. But if you cross that first portal, you'll realize that on the other side of the emptiness, there is something the system can't give you: peace. And I'm not talking about surface-level peace, like the kind you feel after a day off. I'm talking about a peace that remains even when the world is in chaos. A peace that doesn't depend on what's happening outside, because it's born inside. But what no one told you is that this calling has its own language. And Thoth was the one who translated this language into a hidden code that you're about to start understanding. But before you decode this code, you need to see that this inner calling, this emptiness that pulses inside you, was never an isolated phenomenon in your life. It's part of an ancient knowledge that has crossed entire civilizations. Long before your existence, masters who walked this earth were already trying to warn us about the illusion we live in. Each with their own words, each with their own culture, but all pointing to the same hidden truth. Jesus, for example, when he said the kingdom of heaven is within you, wasn't talking about a physical place or a future promise. He was speaking of a state of consciousness that already exists inside you, waiting to be discovered. But this message was distorted over the centuries. They turned a call for inner awakening into a blind search for external salvation. People started looking outside for something that was always inside. Buddha spoke about this too. He said that all suffering is born in the mind, that attachment, desire and fear create the invisible chains that bind us to the cycle of pain. But instead of hearing this as an invitation to inner freedom, many turned his teachings into dogmas, empty rituals, and traditions that forget the essential. Freedom is not in the world, but in the way you perceive it. Socrates, on the other hand, challenged the beliefs of his time with simple yet deep questions. He didn't offer ready-made answers. He questioned, because he knew that true wisdom doesn't come from the accumulation of information, but from the courage to unlearn what was imposed on you. Socrates wanted you to free yourself from the mental prison built by inherited certainties. But instead, his philosophy became just theory in schoolbooks. And then we have Hermes Trismegistus, the most mysterious and yet the clearest figure in his message. Hermes taught that the outer world is only a reflection of the inner world. His phrase, "as within, so without, as above, so below," carries a truth so deep that few people truly understand it. We are not separate from reality. We create it from what we vibrate internally. But this Hermetic wisdom was hidden, distorted, and marginalized throughout history, treated as forbidden occultism, when, in truth, it was a manual for freedom. But what did the world do with these teachings? It hid them, distorted them, and in some cases, banned them. Because an awakened humanity cannot be manipulated. A human being who discovers their own inner energy doesn't need to submit to systems of control, consumption, and fear. They become free. And the system can't survive freedom. Thoth, however, did something different. He didn't just speak about the illusion of the world. He left a step-by-step guide. A true map, something that's not limited to pretty words or philosophical metaphors. A method that, when followed, awakens your inner energy and begins a real process of rejuvenation of your being. The mental alchemy that transforms your vital energy. This step-by-step wasn't something complicated, reserved only for sages or priests. It was simple, but so powerful that it had to be protected so it wouldn't fall into the wrong hands. The heart of this teaching is inner transmutation. And I'm not talking about alchemy that turns common metals into physical gold, like many believed. True alchemy is mental. It's energetic. It transforms the density of your mind into vibrational lightness. It turns heavy thoughts, filled with fear and guilt, into vital energy capable of regenerating your body. On the emerald tablet, attributed to Thoth, it is written that what is below is like what is above, and what is above is like what is below. This phrase isn't an empty metaphor. It reveals that what happens in your inner world has a direct reflection on your body and your external life. If your mind is trapped in heavy thoughts, your body responds with fatigue, illness, and premature aging. But when your mind rises, when you change the quality of your vibration, your body begins to respond with lightness, regeneration, and vitality. Transmutation doesn't mean ignoring negative thoughts. It means looking at them with awareness, without being dragged by them. It's like turning lead into gold, but inside your own mind. The lead is limiting beliefs, unresolved emotions, patterns of scarcity and fear. The gold is clarity, lightness, presence that brings life to your body. And this isn't something that only happens when you're meditating in silence. Transmutation happens in everyday situations. When you choose not to react with anger to a provocation, when you choose to take a deep breath instead of letting anxiety take over, when you decide to feed your mind with words of life instead of destructive thoughts. Each of these choices transforms your energy, and that energy shapes your body, your emotions, and your reality. That's why people who carry resentment seem to age faster, because the dense energy of bitterness weighs down every cell of the body. On the other hand, people who live in gratitude, presence, and balance radiate an energy that regenerates, that brings youth not only to the body, but to the eyes, the smile, the way they walk through life. This mental alchemy is the first step to true rejuvenation. It's no use changing the outside if inside you're still vibrating the same fears and patterns that drain your vital energy. The change that really matters starts inside, in the way you think, feel, and interpret life. But this transformation is only the beginning. Because Thoth revealed a hidden point that, when activated, changes not only your mind, but your entire energy field. And we'll get there. And the most impressive part is that thousands of years later, science began to find concrete evidence of everything the ancients already knew. For centuries, classical physics believed that the world was made of solid matter, that everything was predictable and separate. But when quantum physics emerged, that view began to collapse. But what does that have to do with what we're talking about? Everything. Because your body, your health, your energy, and even your aging process are not fixed, unchangeable things. They respond to the way you observe life, to the way you feel, think, and vibrate. If you live stuck in patterns of fear and scarcity, your body reacts as if it's in a hostile environment. But when you raise your vibration, you create an internal environment where regeneration becomes possible. Science has also started to study the effects of meditation, gratitude, and conscious intention on the human body. And the results are clear. People who cultivate positive mental states have lower levels of inflammation, stronger immune systems, and greater capacity for cellular regeneration. It's not a miracle. It's biochemistry guided by consciousness. But there's still the key element that Thoth left hidden. A symbol that activates your vital energy and begins to reverse your body's wear and tear. And it will be revealed next. The activation ritual that changes your vibration. Thoth knew that words alone wouldn't be enough to convey the depth of what he had discovered. That's why he left something that goes beyond language. Symbols. Symbols don't speak to the logical mind. They speak directly to your energy field. They're not meant just to be looked at, but to be experienced inwardly. And the most powerful of these symbols is the Ankh, known as the key of life. The Ankh is not just an Egyptian drawing carved on ancient walls. It represents the bridge between the visible and the invisible world. The upper part, which forms a circle, symbolizes eternity, the infinite nature of your essence. The vertical line, represents your connection with the divine, and the horizontal line shows the balance between your inner and outer world. When you understand the Ankh not as an external object, but as a map of your own being, it stops being an ancient symbol and becomes a living key that opens the doors to your inner energy. But it wasn't only the Ankh that Thoth left. The emerald tablet itself is a coded symbol. It wasn't an ordinary text, but a manual for the transmutation of consciousness. Every sentence in it has layers and layers of meaning. And those layers are not deciphered through intellectual study, but through the practice of presence, breathing, and deep contemplation. These symbols act as activators. They don't hold the power on their own. True power arises when you connect with what they represent within you. And that's exactly what almost no one understands. Wearing the Ankh as an amulet around your neck won't help, nor will repeating the words of the emerald tablet like magic spells. The transformation happens when you feel, within your energy field, the vibration that these symbols activate. When you visualize the Ankh in the center of your chest, you're not just imagining an object. You're activating a frequency. You're reminding your energy body of something it already knows, but had been dormant. And when that memory is triggered, something shifts in your vital energy. It starts to circulate again. It begins to flow where it was once blocked. But just knowing the symbol isn't enough. You need to activate it within yourself. And the ritual that Thoth taught for that begins now. Close your eyes for a moment and bring your attention to your chest. Imagine that right in the center of your chest, there is a gentle light, like a small silent sun. This light didn't come from outside. It has always been there, waiting to be remembered. Now, visualize the Ankh within that light. Not as something static, but as a living energy that slowly starts to spin, radiating vibration to every cell of your body. As you visualize this, bring your breath into the present. Inhale slowly and deeply, as if you're pulling life into yourself. And as you exhale, release the weight, the fatigue, the worries that were blocking you. Do this a few times without rushing, feeling that with each breath, your vital energy is being reactivated. In this moment, your mind may try to distract you. It may bring up thoughts, judgments, doubts. Don't fight them. Just observe, like someone watching a river flow without needing to jump in. Bring your attention back to the Ankh in your chest, spinning, radiating vitality through your whole being. Feel how your chest begins to expand, as if an inner space that was compressed is slowly opening again. This space is where your vital energy lives. And when you access this space, something shifts in your energy field. You feel a lightness that doesn't depend on external circumstances. It's a lightness that comes from the center of your being. This practice doesn't need to last for hours. Just a few minutes a day can begin to reverse the energetic wear and tear that the system has caused in you for years. And what once felt like endless exhaustion begins to be replaced by a new sense of vitality. Not the forced kind of energy that depends on external stimulation, but an authentic vitality that comes from the balance between mind, body, and spirit. This is how you begin to reverse, from the inside out, the damage the system has placed on your being. Through conscious breathing, presence, and symbolic activation, you start a process of regeneration that modern science is still trying to understand, but that Thoth had already taught millennia ago. But activation is only half the journey. True rejuvenation happens when you learn how to sustain this energy in your daily life. And that's what we'll unlock in the next part. The complete code to awaken your energy and naturally rejuvenate. Activating your inner energy is the beginning. The real challenge is keeping that vibration alive while the outside world keeps trying to pull you back into autopilot. Sustaining that energy in your daily life is like keeping a flame lit during a storm. It requires attention, choice, and presence in every moment. At first, it might seem hard. Routine will call you. Old distractions will try to capture you again. But that's exactly where the transformation begins. When you consciously decide what frequency you want to live on, because your vibration creates your reality. What you feel and think on the inside shows up in how your body functions, how you see the world, and how the world responds to you. When you hold on to thoughts and habits that feed your vital energy, your body starts to respond. Your energy increases, fatigue decreases. The natural regeneration process that had been asleep starts working again. Your metabolism adjusts. Your sleep improves. Your breathing deepens. And all of this happens not because of something outside, but because you changed the internal state that was draining your vitality. But how do you maintain that every day? The answer lies in daily awareness of your mental and emotional patterns. Notice how you wake up in the morning. Do you start the day on autopilot or bring awareness to your first thought? Throughout the day, do you consume content that strengthens you or information that drains your energy? Do your conversations nourish your soul or feed complaints and judgment? Each of these choices shapes your vibration, and the more you choose alignment, the more natural it becomes. It's not about perfection, it's about awareness. If at any moment you realize you've slipped back into autopilot, don't blame yourself. Just return. Return to conscious breathing. Bring to mind the image of the Ankh spinning in your chest. Reactivate your presence. With time, what once felt like effort starts becoming a natural state. Your mind quiets more easily. Your body doesn't hold on to as much stress. Your energy flows more lightly. And little by little, the rejuvenation that once felt distant starts to show on your face, in your eyes, in your posture, and even in the way you relate to the world. But the final piece of this process is still hidden. The direct connection to the source of eternal energy that keeps your rejuvenation constant. And that is the secret Thoth kept until the end. This source is not outside of you. It's not a distant place or a power reserved for a few. It's the universal field that has always been around you and within you, but was forgotten because of the noise of the mind and the distraction of routine. The true hidden code that Thoth left is not just a philosophical concept. It's a practical cycle made up of three fundamental forces. The first is inner silence. It's in silence that the energy of the source reveals itself, not in the noise of endless information, but in the stillness of present awareness. In the moment you quiet your thoughts for just a few seconds, you create space for life energy to flow again. The second force is energetic activation. What you've already started to experience with the visualization of the symbol and conscious breathing. It's in that moment that your vital energy stops being a concept and becomes a felt reality in your body. This activation doesn't require temples, gurus, or complex rituals. It happens at the center of your being, when you decide to bring presence to the moment. And the third force is conscious action in the world. Because awakening is not a permanent retreat from practical life. On the contrary, it's in everyday life, in simple choices, in how you treat people and how you handle challenges, that your energy expresses itself. Every act you take can be either an expression of your elevated energy field or a reflection of old conditioning. The choice is yours, every moment. These three forces, inner silence, energetic activation, and conscious action, form the complete code. When they're in balance, your body enters a natural state of regeneration. Your energy renews effortlessly, your mind becomes clear, and your life starts to reflect that new frequency. This is true rejuvenation. Not the kind that promises external formulas and instant results, but the kind that's born from alignment between who you are and how you live. Thoth left this path hidden, but not inaccessible. It's available to anyone who has the courage to quiet the noise, activate their inner light, and act with awareness in the world. Now that you know this, the choice is in your hands. Because knowledge without application doesn't bring transformation. It's in daily practice that the code fully reveals itself. And for those who want to go even deeper, I've prepared a special video that shows how to apply this in a practical way to your daily life. It's showing up on the screen now. I'll see you there. If you made it this far, it's because something inside you has already started to awaken. So write in the comments, "My inner energy has awakened," so I know who truly felt this activation happening right now. And if you'd like to help this channel continue bringing content like this, there's a link in the first pinned comment below where you can contribute directly and be part of this mission to spread wisdom and awakening. And before you go, pay attention. I've set aside a special video for you to take the next step on this journey. It's showing up on the screen now. Click there and let's meet on the other side, where I'll show you how to apply all of this in practice and go even deeper into your transformation.